Here's the thing. I have a secret weapon.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Like towards the end of the night, if I get frustrated at anyone, busting out Peach.
Peach.
You want to throw
What's-
some?
wait,
you want
Hit
some
you with
throw-
that booty.
Nerd On.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve. Yeah, right?
Episode 2.
Episode 2. I'm
We're
so
doing this
excited.
thing for real.
We are.
The
It must
saga
be a
continues.
thing. It's a real thing. So, what we're talking about today is video games. It's going to be a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of current stuff, little frustrations, all sorts of stuff. So, what we would
Dreams.
Oh yeah, dreams.
Ooh,
Video
dreams
game
being
dreams.
Crushed.
Yes. All the time. Dreams being crushed.
Teaches you a lot about life.
Yeah. I just wanted to be the highest level. So we're going to go around the horn and we're going to talk about what we are currently playing. So yeah, I'm Josh. I'm one of the hosts. I'm a producer. I do the audio for the show. And what I'm currently playing, and probably playing way too much, is Destiny 2. I like it so much. It's so good.
It's good.
It
It's
fulfills
so
you.
good.
It's that good.
It
Yeah.
hurts so
That,
good.
that true.
Oh man. Okay, so that's mine. I'm about to fangirl because it's so good. It is such a good game.
Yeah.
So hey Tom.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Tom. I like how I was trying to go into this show today to do this deep, sexy voice.
Before the show,
For
he's
all
like,
y'all
I'm going to be
girls.
sexy today. I'm going to sound good.
Exactly.
I'm Tom.
Tom.
You had a long day, Tom. It's okay.
And,
I don't think he's coming back.
Oh yeah, I'm the youngest one here. Anyways, I'm Tom, and I am the resident filmmaker, comic book fanatic, fanboy, whatever you want to call it. Comic book man in training. And the game that I'm playing right now is the Mad Max game for PlayStation.
Oh.
The reason why I got into it, so I watched Mad Max Fury Road, which spawned, everyone would be like, "Oh, let's make Mad Max game now since it's all popular
You
again."
gotta.
It looked cool.
And I've liked it a lot. It very much kind of reminds me of just a kind of open world GTA kind of feel, because I was kind of like, I just need a game that I could feel submersive in, because sometimes
Is that what it is? Like, it's like Grand Theft Auto in the Mad Max world?
a little bit, you got a shop you go into and you got these dumb missions you got to do because you're like putting allegiance to something. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'll
but
take
what
care
about
of this
customizing clothes?
church. You can.
Yes.
Customize clothes,
Can I
customize
affect
the
my
car.
hair?
I don't know about that yet. I haven't got that far. All I try to do is just beat people up all the time. I just go into the desert and find random people, just beat them up. I'll just take their loot.
Take
and
their
just-
chrome?
Yeah, because all I want to do is upgrade my car.
Makes sense.
But that's what I'm playing right now, Mr. Core.
Awesome.
What's up, Corey? Musician, wannabe filmmaker with in the light of Tom. He's teaching me a lot.
Padawan filmmaker.
Yes, correct. The game I'm playing right now, I play a lot of games. I have like ADD with games, but I always come back to World of Warcraft. It's I can't escape
Wow.
it.
Mhm.
I can't get away
Wow.
from
It
it.
just
I
sucks
have,
you in.
although I'll admit, Ali and Josh got me on that Destiny 2 game right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I
We
finally
pulled your arm.
finally
Surprise
reached
everyone.
level
Destiny
20.
2 episode.
Level 20 last night. It's been good.
Nice.
It's been good. But mostly, yeah, anything Blizzard.
The
is
grind.
where I'm
The
at.
grind has just begun.
Yeah.
I know.
it really
No, I know.
has.
I understand. But that's where I'm at right now. What about you, bud?
Your life has ended.
Ali, resident YouTuber, broadcaster, content creator, et cetera. Currently playing Destiny every waking moment of my.
Is there an
Sorry,
echo in
I'm
here?
live.
It's weird.
Is there an echo in here?
Did I not get the memo?
Playing Destiny 2. I'm thinking of getting, what is it? PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Oh, player unknown battleground.
It's getting popular.
Yeah.
Looking into it.
What is that?
It's on
like
Steam
it's
now.
like a open world survival game.
Ooh, I dig those.
It's like
Open like MMO?
no,
everything?
it's,
Isn't it like Predator, like the Predator movie where you're just this warrior dropped in this weird place and all
Yeah,
these,
you're
like,
kinda
drops
dropped in
are
there.
everywhere, and you can like set up your bases.
it's like
and you
every
kill against
round
other
is like
players.
20 minutes long, and you're just dropped in. You like literally airdropped
Oh,
in. and
interesting.
It's literally
yeah.
like the Predator movie.
It's like
Check that
really
out.
popular. But yeah,
And
I just picked up Final Fantasy 9. They re-released it on
Mm,
PlayStation.
that's right, they did.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Started playing it and I was like, oh man, I remember this being so cool. So
Is it
cool.
still?
I mean, for turn-based games, RPGs like that.
Those you can't see at home, he just started shaking his head slowly. Not no or yes, but just somewhere in between.
So we're talking about video games today, and what a proper question to ask. But what is your favorite video game? And nowadays we can talk more so about your favorite video game franchise, because sometimes it's really hard to decide. Well, what did I like? Did I like Uncharted 1, or did I like Uncharted 3 or 2 or
do you
4
like the whole arc?
or the new spinoff? So I mean, what do you like? So I'm not gonna start this one.
I could start.
Tom can start
I'm
it.
gonna start.
Get Tom on this.
So as I said before in our last episode, big Nintendo fanboy, mainly because that's the only thing my parents bought me. So I was forced into it.
Because it's the family console.
It is the family
Yeah.
console. But my favorite franchise would have to be, I would say, I'm just going to say it, Smash Bros. Is my favorite franchise.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I spent the most time on it. And
Sure.
give you a little backstory. I just remember getting an N64, playing Smash Bros. Because I remember I would go to this place called Media Play. And this was like the store in this outlet mall in San Jose called the Great Mall. And you go to Media Play. And there would be this N64 that all these kids would play on. And you had to wait and then have them be done playing it. This is like before GameStops became really big. And then you go there and then I would just wait. And then all of a sudden there's this, jackass kid who's like better than everybody using Kirby, just becoming a brick and smashing everybody.
Again, kids are assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted to play it so bad because it was like right next to all the Dragon Ball Z stuff. So I was like, oh, I want to play that game, but I want to get the Dragon Ball Z stuff. But I got it. I got the game and I sucked at it. I sucked so bad. I remember I was in my neighborhood and everyone whooped the shit out of me all the time. And I was trying to use Kirby, trying to be cool like that one kid at the media
Trying to
play.
punk people and it just got turned around on you. Oh, geez.
I would grab people, do the jump, and then fall straight down and die. But later on, when I moved to Sacramento and I met with some good friends, and then GameCube was out, and then Melee became a thing. And this is the creator
That's
of Smash
the granddaddy of all of
Yeah.
them. Like that's the best one.
The creator of Smash Bros. Has gone on and said that this is the most polished Smash Bros. Games ever. Even now after the Wii U.
Mhm.
And I remember I was just started learning how to play, and I remember I was playing against these guys who actually went to Stockton to go to play these conventions, and I was like, okay, and then they would actually take time and teach me. So we would do super sudden death match where everyone had 300% damage and 99 lives.
So you would play with competitive players.
Competitive players, but the thing is what that taught me and trained me to be I had to be very you're
Thinking 3 steps ahead.
your hand-eye coordination was crazy, and then
Yeah.
also your impulse to move and dodge and all that stuff overrid everything to attack someone. So you become a huge survivalist.
Right.
Because you got hit. If you get hit one time, you're dead. This 300%, you just fly out.
Right.
So you got really good
yeah.
at dodging. You got really good at knowing how to utilize your lives and fight and figure out the other players how their move cycles are going to work and how all that stuff. So that was crazy for me. And then the Wii came out and I got Brawl, which was cool, but it was very clunky. It felt very much like the first one.
I mean, I still use the GameCube controllers on
yeah.
because I remember that we had the attachment for the GameCube controllers on top.
Yeah.
I was not about that.
But now I have the Wii U, and my favorite character is I use Ike. He's a Fire Emblem character.
Ike's good.
Although I've never played a Fire Emblem game, just because I stopped playing these turn-based RPGs a long time ago. But I just love in Smash Bros. How it just incorporates everything you love about
Now,
different Nintendo games.
Did you guys play Smash Brothers?
I played Smash and Smash Melee.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about you?
I wanted to, but
Never?
I never had a No.
You missed
I-
out, man.
yeah, I
Hate
know
to
I
say it.
did. I
Ollie,
know I
who
did.
was your character? We got Ike over here. Who we
Ike.
got over here?
Well,
mine was either Samus or Link.
Samus.
and this is
Aran.
and then Classic, and then in Melee,
Yeah.
Samus and Link.
Both, yeah.
Okay.
I was all
uh,
about Pit.
Hit that's in Brawl and in
Now-
Wii U.
Here's the thing. I have a secret weapon.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I'll play with you with Samus and Link throughout most of the night. Because usually there'll be Smash parties.
Yeah.
He's sandbagging.
No, but towards the end of the night, if I get frustrated at anyone,
Pulled out the controller.
busting out Peach.
Peach.
You want to throw
What's-
some?
wait,
you want
Hit
some
you with
throw-
that booty.
Boom!
That's her attack.
Oh man,
true.
Josh.
That's her attack. I'm
He's not.
making it
He's
up.
not. He's serious. She just turns around and
She turns around.
The thing is
gets you
that
that booty.
I never. So that old sad story. I really only had one console, and it was either or. And
Right.
it was one of those things that it was you either get this or you get that. And so my decision was PlayStation. And
Fair.
I'll explain when I am talking about my
Yeah.
favorite games. So I remember watching people playing it and going, "Oh man, I wish I could play that." But I do remember, wasn't there a Smash Brothers that was released on Wii? Like when Wii first came out?
Yeah,
like-
it's Smash Bros.
Yes.
Brawl.
okay.
Brawl.
I remember I was managing a Hollywood Video in Seattle when it came out, and
Mhm.
we were doing, and Game Crazy was going. They were pretty much almost already out of business.
Yeah.
That side
Wow.
of the thing, and so the video game side fell on Hollywood Video, and so
my
we had to
buddy
come
worked
up.
at Game Crazy.
Huh?
I just remember my buddy Dustin worked at Game Crazy.
Wow. Shout
Yeah.
out to Dustin.
Dustin, yeah, shout out Dustin.
So we had to have events, and so I'd put up posters for kids to come have tournaments. Man, kids got way into that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, like watching them, and you're like, what is this? Is this
Way
like
too
West
good
Side
at this.
Story?
You're
Like
way
what
too
is
good
going
at
to
this.
happen here? Like I'm amazed. Like fighting games, you got first person shooters. I mean, those games I just never got good at. Fighting games, like I was
Combat
a button
games.
masher.
Like
I
the
was
Twitch games.
Yeah. I
Oh,
was
you
a
were that
button
guy who
masher.
got on as Eddie Gordo and just started pressing things.
Yeah,
and would
I was
win
just
because
pushing,
that's
pushing,
how
pushing.
he works.
Yeah, like
Got
Street
it.
Fighter, and you're like, I don't know what's going on, and somehow you'd still win.
Yeah.
Eddie Gordo and Wong were both like leg-based attacks.
Yep.
So you just mash like
Yeah.
X and circle and you'd be good.
Yeah. I also always chose Dulcim on Street Fighter just because I could reach across the map.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, like, I had a good friend that my roommate, shout out to James, who would literally go on YouTube and like look up like the top tier players. He's like, Tom, you got to learn how to play better. And I was like, I just want to play for fun. And he's like, Tom, this
No.
is what pros do.
You
He's like,
poor,
do you want
poor
to?
guy.
He's like, do you want to win? Do you want to do this right? And so, I mean, there would be times where we would play a game and then like we'd wake up, we'd buy a game at like 6 p.m. We'd play all night to maybe till 2 a.m. I'd go to bed. I'd wake up. It's 8 a.m. He's still playing that game. And I'm
Wow.
like, dude. And he's like, I'm about to beat it. I'm about to beat
I
it.
remember those
And I'm just
sessions.
Yeah.
I
I still
had a few
have
of them
those
myself.
sessions.
Yeah. Nowadays, I can't.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
No
I'm,
way.
I'm too old.
Like
I,
2, 3 in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think I can
like,
wait till
I'm
tomorrow.
I just want to
Yeah.
point out that you have a Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While
I can't stay up anymore.
well, tonight I'm going to be up till like 3 or 4, but
Oh.
so
it's not
okay.
always like that. God.
But to wrap mine up, actually, to answer Corey's question, so I use Ike now for Wii U and
Okay.
in Wii, but then in the classic Smash, I used Kirby when I was dumb, and then now I use Fox, and I'm a monster
Dude,
with him.
Fox is
And in
crazy good.
Melee, I use Dr. Mario. Dr.
Oh,
Mario.
just tossing
Wow.
pills, huh?
Oh no, Dr. Mario, like compared to regular Mario, like regular Mario is faster, but his hits don't like make people fly out of the stage better. Like Dr. Mario's slower, but he hits way harder.
Oh, really?
It's just I love that about those kind of games where it's like very similar move types, but then like Captain Falcon Ganondorf, same move
Yeah.
types, but then like Ganondorf's kick
Slower.
goes further, or like his punch is stronger.
Same with Fox and
Falco. But then like Falco, like he could jump
Slower.
higher, and like Fox is a lot faster, and then Falco's gun shoots further, and it actually like can have knockback damage.
His shoot's slower too.
His shoots
his
slower,
gun is
and then
just like-
Fox's just do chip damage. You could walk and get shot, and you won't
Right.
fly back. You get shot by Falco, you fly back. So it's like these
Interesting.
kind of like cool intricacies that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna
You
figure
got to
out
find
who's
the
best
one that fits you the best.
Yeah,
Man,
and
we
so
See,
really
like you
need
do
to-
Fox, I do Falco.
We really need a Switch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that Switch now has this weird game where they're also doing like these indie Nintendo games,
Oh,
like
yeah.
wannabe Smash Bros games.
Yeah.
Like I know that PlayStation came out with their like wannabe Smash Bros where they had
All-Stars.
like which was kind of fun. But everything like when you have like these like
It's not the
franchise
same.
characters in a place like okay, I guess they're just gonna get knocked out or anything like that, which is one way or another. But yeah, I mean, I remember like with Sweet Tooth, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And Kratos, I was like, all right. And then you had Drake from Uncharted, but
Yeah.
anyways,
My
that's
turn.
mine.
What it would just make me think about is like you guys are talking about like preparation. It's like that's what the cool thing about video games too is that you have to prepare. It's like with Destiny 2, it's like okay, I'm going to Crucible or I'm going against this boss, and it's like okay, and there's some games where you have to plan your loadout
Yeah.
because it'll
Yeah,
lock
absolutely.
once it loads, and it's like okay, I've got to be prepared, and it's like man, I wish I could do that with my life where I'm just like okay, before I do this, I'm going to get my loadout, and it's locked. Oh no, I can't change my energy. No.
Oh god.
Oh no, I'm totally unprepared.
I've said this 1,000 times to Tom. My favorite franchise of all time will be and forever will be Halo. It
Nice.
is. I credit it as the game that got me into gaming. I used to. I mean, I played like Tom did. I grew up with all the Nintendo consoles. I had the Nintendo 64. I had the GameCube. But I remember I was at. He'll probably never hear this. My buddy Ryan's house.
Shout out to
and
Ryan.
and his dad had gotten him Halo, and he was like, "We gotta play this game. We gotta try it."
Shout out to Ryan's dad.
And I was like, "All right, let's check it out." So we sat down, and that is the day my life was forever changed, because
Yeah.
that game blew my mind.
Yeah.
That was insane.
It was insane, yeah.
What year did that come out? You remember it was like 2000?
Jeez.
Oh,
Or
man.
something like that.
Was it 2000?
Back in the day.
I mean,
It was old.
man.
Halo 1,
I,
right?
I guess
I had
so.
never seen, Halo 1. I'm talking about campaign, level 1, Halo 1. Like the day after it came out, we played it. And I had never seen anything like it. It was so, and still, Bungie with Destiny is still like the king of first person shooters in my book.
And
Like,
multi-
they
Well,
have it down.
it made me buy an Xbox, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah. 'cause
I remember
think
I went
had a
home to my dad and I was
PS2 or
like,
something.
I need that. I need that in my
2001.
life.
2001.
I need it
2001.
around me. I need it in the living room.
Well, I don't
So-
think you were the only one. Halo, I think, changed video gaming.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
The way they had, they nailed everything down to
Well,
like the button loadouts and everything.
I
was
feel like it
perfect.
was kind of like what they wanted like Battlefront to be.
Mhm.
You know, it was what it felt like the proper progression of like what first person shooters were going to be. And like now we're on this next gen console gaming.
Yeah.
So I actually remember when first time I ever played Halo, I was actually, so it's a weird thing about Asian people or about other people. You know, they have these family events and like you don't know anybody other than your mom who's bringing you to this like Thanksgiving thing. And so she's like, hey, just go play on the couch. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and do nothing. But then, you know, like the person's house we lived in had like a son too who's like, I don't want to hang out with you, but here's my Xbox.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
Xbox was all hacked. So like his menu screen was all on Simpsons
Oh,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. But then like it was just I just remember it was super dope. Like the Xbox like open screen was just like this crackling, and then the X comes out and it's like red instead.
It was like the first grown-up console I felt I ever
Yeah.
had. I was like, oh, this is real. This
I'm
is
an
real
adult.
game.
And it was huge.
Yeah.
oh my
So
God.
you're
It
like,
was
this-
It
this
felt
is
massive.
ginormous.
It felt like
It felt like a
computer.
supercomputer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I
like
just,
a
I mean,
weapon.
even to this day, I've read a bunch of the books for Halo. The lore
Mhm.
like really excites me. And I've always told my wife this. I've always said like, I'm not someone who can just jump on a game that's a first person shooter and have fun shooting things. Like it's cool for a few minutes, but if you don't have any story, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I'm not one
you
of
need
those
to be
people.
immersed.
Yeah, like I don't buy the Call of Duty games. I don't. I'm sorry if any of that offends anyone. It's not my cup
I
of
mean,
tea.
they're all the same thing.
It's not my cup of tea. There's like 10 missions. They're all kind of the same as they were 10 games
One's
ago.
escort,
And
one's
so
stop
like
this thing.
the thing about
Rescue this hostage.
Halo that got it for me, and Bungie is still figuring this out, by the way,
Yes.
because I love Halo, but they done fucked up with Halo 5. They messed it up. They marketed it as
But
this
their
like
music is always dope.
their music's insane. I have all the
Their music is
soundtracks,
always good.
but they marketed it as this like battle between Chief and
Locke.
Locke.
Yeah.
And they
that was,
learned their lesson. I thought they learned their lesson with Halo 2, where you only spend half the game being Master Chief, half the game Arbiter. But they did it again. You're only Master Chief, I think, 3 out of 12 missions in the new one. And people lost it so much that Bungie came out and they were like, we're making 6 and you're only Master Chief the whole time.
Well, it's not Bungie
we are
anymore.
so
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, it's 343.
343. Yeah.
You'd think they would learn from Bungie.
But I felt like in
Well, they
2, like, it
showed
was
promise.
Okay. Wasn't 2 pretty well split? Like the thing is, like you're
2 was
starting at you
fun.
start out with Chief, and then you keep playing as Arbiter, and then all of a sudden Chief comes in, and then you play with Arbiter, and at the very end, it's like, but you can do both.
Yeah, so here's the thing. And me, I've played every single one of those games with Mikey and Dustin.
Probably multiple times.
Multiple times, not 2. It's cool the
Oh,
first
really?
time to experience something different, but every time we would play through that and we get to an Arbiter level, we'd be like, fuck, it's an Arbiter level. Can we skip it?
You got a
And it's
sword,
funny
baby.
because it's the same, right?
Yes,
Like, I mean, nuts and
no.
bolts.
Yes and no. Okay, so the difference between the Arbiter levels is the types of guns you get
Okay.
and its functionalities. So with like Arbiter, his special thing was that he could go invis at some points, like invisible for a little bit,
Okay.
and you get mostly energy guns. You couldn't jump as high, that kind of stuff. So
Mm.
with Master Chief, you're just like a beast.
Yeah.
You're just a beast. So in the story, I mean, the thing with Arbiter missions is they were more like covert ops.
Yeah,
Like you're
because you have to
sneaking
you have to
around
turn to the invisible, and then you
Because
have
the
to, like,
whole thing about him is he's like branded and he gets this shitty armor that's made for people who are exiled and stuff. So
Right,
it's
yeah.
a lot of covert stuff where Master Chief, you can like kick down a door and take out 1,000 people and you're
just
like,
throw frags left.
I
And
feel
right.
like God. But the other thing that sold me on that is I had never played a game like Halo where driving a Warthog
Yeah.
with a gunner in
Mhm.
the back, like it's the best co-op.
Yeah, you never want to.
experience.
So it's funny because like it totally redirects the whole like, oh shotgun. No, I want gun, baby.
Oh
I
man,
want turret.
well the
baby.
thing
Yeah.
that worked with me and Dustin is Dustin always wanted to drive and I always wanted to be in the back with the guns, and Mikey was like our like guy who would sit there with a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher
Yeah.
and just pick people off as we drove by. It was the best teamwork I've ever seen, I've ever been a part of. I've been a part of a lot of teams, but that unit right there was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Wait. So you didn't play 2 a lot, but did you ever get the Scarab gun?
In 2? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we got all this. We go for 100% completion on Legendary on all of them.
So-
it's my it is the one game I go all out. Like I've been to every midnight release. I've been to every little competition. I won a 5 foot by 4 foot poster at a competition for Halo Reach, which is arguably my second favorite in the entire franchise.
Oh, I agree with that.
Oh yeah, easily. It's
There's
so good.
some pretty. I mean, I think you've played through it already, but there's some really strong Halo Reach feels when you get to Titan in Destiny
Oh
2.
god, yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, when you get into the arcology.
Did you-
and the-
Yeah.
Did you
yeah.
like ODST?
I loved ODST. Yeah. I think the thing is, and when I talk about not being Master Chief in those games, it's when they're marketed as Master Chief
Yeah.
games, they fail.
Yeah.
Because they're not marketing it right. But in games like ODST or Reach, where I knew I wasn't going in, I knew I was going in not going to be a Master Chief, I was cool with it, and they turned out to be some of my favorites.
How about Halo Wars?
Halo Wars are fun. I didn't get into them as much.
I'm
all about that,
It's not really your favorite then.
What, the franchise? I have my own
count.
Here, how about this? I own the legendary versions of both 1 and 2.
You own the Legendary Virgins?
Yep.
Okay.
But then I don't know if you guys ever got to play Halo PvP.
You mean online?
Oh yeah.
Oh
What do
yeah.
you mean?
That's
what
where
you
you
played
live.
it for.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not gonna assume everyone's played the game,
No.
Tom.
That's what you got it for. You get
You
the
know what-
plasma
you know
gun
what
and then
Bill
you get the
always
battle
says?
rifle.
Bill always says
GG,
this.
noob.
Bill always says this. To assume,
Shout out to Bill.
if you assume, fuck you. That's his. That's his catch. So I'm never going to assume.
That's my new saying now.
But yeah.
I love it.
Man, it's some of my favorite nights where I literally, it's those nights where I would stay up and I'd look at the clock and I'd be like, oh, it's midnight. I'm going to play a few rounds. And then suddenly it's 6 a.m. And
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I've ranked up 5 times. I'm
Yeah.
killing this. I'm not going
Yeah.
to stop now.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite franchise forever and for always.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So favorite out of all the Halo games?
3.
3.
Halo 3. That's
Fa-
the one I played the most, I think.
Favorite gun?
Ooh, that's a great question. Favorite gun.
Grab, go. Have a gun to your head.
I mean, I was always fun with, I was always had a blast with shotguns.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think that's my favorite one, the shotgun.
Shotgun.
Favorite map?
Or Needler.
Favorite map?
I mean, it's always gonna be Blood Gulch. It's classic. And they've redone
Which
it so
one's
many
Blood
times.
Gulch?
Well, they have it a different name in each.
There's
each-
5 versions of it.
yeah,
Which one's
it's the 2. It's just one
It's like
valley,
a desert thing.
and there's 2 bases on either
Oh,
side.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
redo
Rocket
it. They
launcher in the
rename it
middle.
every time, but it's Blood Gulch.
I've always
forever.
liked the Zanzibar one with the giant circle.
the
thing
yeah, the big
on
wheel.
the beach.
Yeah,
Coagulation, I think, was one of them.
it's good times.
man.
Anyway, sorry. I could talk
Oh,
about
no.
that. I could do a whole episode about Halo. We will.
Yeah.
We won't. We won't.
So on my way over, I was debating which direction I should take, because, for me, one answer is the Final Fantasy franchise, but recently I've had to think about what my actual favorite game of all time is, and I'm like, the answer is kind of obvious, and I guess we'll just get out of the way.
What is it?
My Little Pony.
I can't even guess what it is.
What are we talking? Is it the?
I have a command in my
Octodad?
Twitch stream where if you type in command !! Game, it says Barbie Horse Adventure Game of the Year Complete Edition or something like that. So if you actually come to my chat and want to see what game I'm playing by using the command, it'll give you that.
There it is.
No, but my favorite franchise is Destiny. I mean, I can't. There's no 2 ways about it.
What?
I
Yeah,
mean,
Maybe there's 3
Yeah.
ways about it.
there's 3 ways about it, but not 2 ways about it. I don't know. It's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, I made a YouTube channel about it, for Christ's sake,
Yeah.
And I've just spent so much time in there, and it's the game that's affected me the most, from a consumer standpoint and from a creative standpoint. It's inspired me as far as graphic design and just the quality of the polish, the fit and finish. And I remember back in 2014 or 15 or whenever the game came out, I was really surprised with the amount of polish that was on that game as far as the interface and stuff like that. Yeah, it had its issues with story and all that, but I was one of
I didn't
those
say
that
there
was
was-
they fixed it over time.
There was a
they
story?
fixed it over
They
time.
fixed it over time and
Yeah,
for
there's a
$60.
story.
There was a story? I
Yeah,
didn't
we
know
found
there
it
was
about a
story.
year in. It was under a rock somewhere.
It was like a ghost.
You know
just had
that
to find it.
cave that's on Earth that you go
Yeah,
in.
it was
you
inside the
kinda
loot
sift
cave all
through
along. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
you
loot
found it in there. I loved it. I
What?
mean, Destiny was kind of because I was out of video game for quite a bit, and
Yeah.
when Destiny came out, it was like the thing that I was like, I really want to get back into gaming.
Oh, is that the thing that did it for you?
Because I need to play that.
That's
I
the thing that did it for me too.
I could never spend the money at that time, and then
Yeah.
it was one of those things that, oh man, I really want to play that game. I really want to play that game. And then when I was on this disability leave for an injury, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna buy a console.
I mean, that's as
and then
good
the
a time as
first-
any.
yeah,
if you're on
the first-
disability leave.
the first games that I ever bought on my PS4 were Destiny and Fallout 4.
Nice.
And
Very nice.
but
I mean,
Destiny,
before
I was like,
then-
oh my gosh.
Before then, I had a PS3, and it was like I played through the Uncharted games, and then I think I played through a couple
yes.
Batman games, but that was pretty much it. And that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
the extent of my gaming.
Yeah.
Like
And then
life.
Destiny came along.
And then Destiny came along.
You're not a gamer, you're a
rocked your
Destiny.
world.
And funny
Now-
enough, I wasn't super hyped about it leading up into it.
Really?
I was excited for it. I mean, I got a PS4 bundle with the game, so I got hyped up right up until it, but it wasn't like
What was the moment that turned you?
I think it was
Just finally
probably-
playing it?
just finally playing it, or I think it might have been the last month leading up into it where I started listening to podcasts.
And they were releasing all those like production videos. And
yeah,
stuff
they had
like
a bunch
that?
of iDocs and things like
Yeah.
that, which Bungie does really well.
Yeah, they do.
And I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I love Bungie, and I started to get really excited. But I remember like being way more excited for like BioShock Infinite
Mhm.
leading up to that game's release.
That was a great game though.
That was a cool game.
I
It was-
beat-
yeah,
I
it was
did
a great
beat that in
game.
like 4 days though.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest. That's all I did for 4 days was just
But
like
it was such a cool memory because my brother and I, we went to GameStop and we had both pre-ordered the white PS4 bundles.
Shout out to
And at
your
that
brother.
point, shout out to Sean, yeah, my brother. And at that point, we were
Sean.
living in a condo. We were roommates, and so we both went and we each got a PlayStation 4, a white one, with the game, and went home and installed it. And I signed up for a PSN account because I didn't have one. I didn't have a reason to have one up until then. And we just played like for hours and hours, and we played through the campaign together.
Oh.
And
that is the thing I do love about Bungie that 343 is figuring out yet again because they removed couch co-op from 5.
my
This is why I
God.
don't like 5, but well, it's fine. Every franchise got to have the black sheep. So
The game
Mine's
we
gotta
don't
be
talk
black.
about.
right. So thanks, Tom.
So much
but
shade.
Bungie has always been about that co-op life, and it's something that I've always like in video games. I'm gonna tangent for just a sec.
Yeah.
I've always felt like, for me personally, I've never cared about like, well, there's not 2 people in the storyline. Like, it's never mattered to me. I would always rather enjoy a game with a friend, and then even if the cutscene is just the one person, and then you split into 2, it's fine by me. Like, that's how Halo did it. You're just Master Chief,
Well,
but
there's
other people would be.
Oh no, you could be the sergeant major or the.
No, in the co-op, you'd be like either other Spartans or you'd be like elites. And it was fine. I didn't care at all because guess what? I was playing a game with 4 of my friends. You know what I mean? So like,
It goes a step further than that nowadays, and it's always fascinating for me to look back and see what Bungie, like around the Halo days, they would have LAN parties themselves, and
Yeah.
you know, like they loved their own game. And and a lot of the community leaders right now used to be just huge fans of the game, and
That's
clans
awesome.
together and stuff like that, and or still are in clans together. So that's really cool to see. And the game director, by the way, I wanted to share this with you off recording or whatever, but
well, here we are.
Game director Luke Smith was a Grand Marshal in World of Warcraft.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, back
That's
in the day.
pretty cool.
So he's
Like,
telling
he's
you to
got
shut
some-
up, Corey.
He's got
Okay,
some street
got
cred.
it. Got it. I'll stop.
No, yeah, I
I'm such a
100%
noob
agree.
in
Like
Warcraft.
Corey and I have like argued a lot of times. I remember when was it the Ninja Turtle game was coming out. We were like, oh my god, couch co-op Ninja Turtles would be great. I was like, I'll totally be Raphael and Corey could be Donnie, but then there's no couch co-op.
No couch
And
co-op.
it kind of kills it sometimes because I remember like back in like the N64 days or like back when you like the 2-player games where you're Mario and Luigi, one person dies, you play Luigi, you never want to play Luigi. But
I did.
like recently, kind of like to Josh's point, like when I moved down here to LA, like I had all my good friends back home, and Destiny is actually what got us like to stay in touch a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And we would do these like these raids, Destiny 1, but we would
Yeah,
do these
Tom doesn't
raids.
have to.
I don't have to. And it's just like the one guy who's like leading and carrying all the weight to tell us what to do, and we're all just bumbling idiots. But it's kind of like it feels like we're kids again who are just trying to figure it out all
Yeah.
over again.
And that's kind of go ahead. Well, I was gonna say,
Jinx, you owe me your soul.
I'll buy you. Oh, I was gonna go for a Coke. But no, the thing that I was gonna say to that point is, and I don't know if this is by accident for Bungie, just kind of leaving us to our own devices for the most part during Destiny 1's life cycle, but we've grown such a crazy, awesome community of fans that get together. You know, like for example, there's a lot of the community leaders get together and have a charity marathon once a year, and
That's pretty cool.
they
Yeah.
raised over $1 million
Yeah.
in like 2 weeks or something
Wow.
crazy.
And
And
I mean, that kind of stuff reminds me of like, now that I'm thinking about it, all my favorite games are cooperative games.
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft or Halo or Destiny. Like I'm not a
Yeah.
big like person who plays games that are one player, I think. And it never really occurred to me until just now. But like there's a select few, like Grand Theft Auto, I think I've
Batman.
always played.
Batman.
Batman, I played a few of, but like the ones that I'm always like holding near and dear to my heart are the ones that I can hop on for like an hour and play with some friends and connect. And I think maybe that's why I connect with games so much, is just like being able to hang out
Just
with someone I
social
can't
and-
hang out
Yeah.
with physically.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
that's
think
kinda
it depends. I'm sorry. I cut
No,
you
you're
off. Well, what I was going to say is that I think Destiny for me changed my view of PvP
like,
or co-op because, until when I'll talk about my favorite, I wasn't a big fan of the MMO and creating this big thing and this online and everybody's because in my experience when I would hop on and I would play with people, they'd be dicks. And
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, with Destiny and so other co-op games that I've played The Division. I really enjoyed that by Ubisoft.
people were dicks on
Their
that too, though.
Wildlands. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing
People
is
were
that I
dicks on
figured
RuneScape.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I figured out was that I play with people that I know on those ones. Destiny, there's so many communities that you can reach out on and post your like PSN user tag, and then somebody will reach out and like today. Today I was playing Destiny with some guys from Ireland,
That's awesome.
and they were super nice and
Super fun to listen to.
understanding. Yeah, super fun to listen to.
This is kind of like why we came together as a group to begin with. Like that's the great thing about video games and everything that's in like this nerd culture is like it just brings people together because we could have this shared experience, and it might have happened in our own homes, and we're all years apart in terms of age, but we all remember that magical feeling of like being immersed into something and actually like just giving yourself to it.
And then when
Yeah.
you win together, you're all like on your different parts of the world and your different parts of your house, and you're like,
Yeah.
arms in the air, like power pose. You're like,
That's Tom. I mean, that's the reason 90% of my board games are cooperative board
Yeah.
games. It's just either you lose together, you win together. It's just, I
or you
love
hate someone at the end.
teamwork.
because
Well, I don't
they're
play.
betrayed.
I have one or two of the ones where it's like one person versus
so
a team.
good.
But anyway, Josh,
Yeah.
what is your favorite, sir?
well, I was really on the edge of my seat when you were starting to talk about your favorite, and you mentioned Final Fantasy. And I was like,
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad I didn't.
Don't take that from me.
Oh,
Final Fantasy is
Nice.
favorite franchise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When I was a kid, playing Final Fantasy 1 on Nintendo and the ones that they released on Super Nintendo, but the game that 7 and on, like 7,
Oh, 7.
7 is my favorite game by far. Even after I sold my PlayStation 1, I kept my copy of
Oh, yeah.
Final Fantasy
Just to
7
have?
because when I got it, it was 1997 when it came out. When I got it, it was when I got my PlayStation. And I put so much time into Final Fantasy 7. And for me, RPGs are not just, I don't just play, I complete.
Yes.
And Final
Nice.
Fantasy 7,
Yeah.
back in those days, games came out in like multiple discs.
Mhm.
And like when you
Yeah.
got to the end of a disc, you were like, yeah, this is so awesome. And like the amount
please
of
insert disc
time.
3.
Yeah. And the
I
time
forgot
that
about that. Oh my God. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
the time that you had to put into those games to get to level 99 and see all those nines and fully
God,
upgrade.
Max
like
health.
you were like, when you got there, you went to school, you were like, what's up, bitches?
You
Guess
were
what?
a different person. by
You
the
were
end of
there
it all.
like, yeah, that's right. And I have Ultima Weapon. and I have Knights of the Round Table. So what's
No
up?
way.
Come at me.
Come at me, bro.
Someone throws a book at you. Okay, stop.
But no, I loved that game specifically. But I played 8, I played 9, I played 10. When they started going MMO, that's when I started
Is that
getting
11?
Yeah, it was 11, 12.
I tried playing
13
11
and 14, they were kind of this weird thing. And
Wasn't my
15 was
game.
amazing.
Was it?
I love it. It was the first game that I platinumed on PS4. And not that platinuming.
It's coming to PC, so I'll play it then.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
this
awesome.
is something that's bugged
I've
me
heard
now. Now
platinum
that I
is
know
like
that
a
you're
verb.
a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah.
This is something that's bugged me for like a decade or more. My buddy Nate used to play
Shout out
Final
to Nate.
Fantasy. I don't remember which one on the computer, but I can tell you about the main character. Maybe you can help me figure it out. This
Okay.
is again. It's been like 10 years. I probably could have Google searched it.
Does he have a gun blade and he has sunglasses?
No, he has a
So-
brown jacket with like fur.
Yeah. Gunblade 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, it's 8.
It's 8. Okay.
How did I guess it?
I don't know. I mean, you nailed it, dude.
Because it is.
Well
When
done.
you
I
look
just
at when
remember
it's gonna
him and
be
being
about
like, that
magic.
guy looks dope.
Well, 8.
He's the reason I got a jacket like that like years later.
Yeah. Well, 7 and 8 were kind of interesting because
They were related, right? They're all technically they're all
they
related?
weren't really related. All the stories were kind of their own separate entity.
Yeah.
But like 7 and 8 were interesting because they were a magical world, but they wasn't punch you in the face magical. Like
Right.
before 7, you had mages and
I
you had
remember
all these different. You had
one.
characters with like
The
witch
yellow hat
hats
and the blue.
oh, yeah, and
cloak.
like
yeah.
and yeah, 7 had
Very
some pretty
fantasy-ish.
yeah, very cool. But it was like okay, there's a city,
A little more grounded.
and then yeah, a little bit more grounded. 8 was kind of the same
There's
gritty.
machines
way.
and industries and stuff.
Yeah, gritty.
Yeah.
Gritty's a good
I just
Gritty.
word.
remember him
yeah.
on a train. I don't know.
And 15 is
the
the,
train,
same.
the first
Yeah.
opening.
That's all I remember. I just
Did
remember
you-
seeing that and being like,
Did you
"Oh,
ever
that's
watch
awesome."
the movies?
Yeah.
So there's Final Fantasy, Spirits Within, and then there's
Advent
Children.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one.
I
Yeah.
saw Advent Children. I played the PSP game. Where you're Zach.
Yeah.
the Crisis blah, blah, something.
Yeah, the-
right?
I mean,
Crystal
Spirits
Crisis.
Within has nothing to do with like it's the furthest thing away from Final Fantasy. They just use a few of the same words, but
But,
like literally.
But I mean,
Copa?
Bullshit.
isn't the whole Spirit and the Gaia thing the same thing that's like in Final Fantasy
Yeah,
7
I
too?
mean,
So
they
I think
kind of
that's
had
the-
their.
it's
that's
kinda
the
the
only
same
thing
thing,
that
yeah.
They have to have like
Yeah.
one little thread that connects them
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Got it.
And it's like 7 to me was like, okay, you had, I remember it again, it
Emo
was one of
dude.
those things of new video game where it was like the cutscenes at that time.
Oh,
You were
man.
like, holy shit.
looks real.
Oh my God.
and then
Yeah.
the soundtrack,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Well, the characters also.
yeah, the
Yeah.
characters
Like, that
were
was the big
sweet.
thing.
Vincent
Barrett.
Valentine is
Vincent.
one of my favorite characters. Like
Tifa,
when I
baby.
can name a character, it's Vincent. Vincent
Mhm.
Oh,
Valentine.
that's cool.
And like,
Did you-
oh
did
yeah,
you- did-
Tifa. I had a big crush on
Did
Tifa.
you ever play, what is it, the Dirge of Cerberus?
Yeah.
Yeah, his own standalone
And then they had
game.
a fighting
That
game.
gives me nightmares
Is it?
to this day, that song.
Yeah.
One
woke
Winged
up in the middle of the
Angel.
night.
That
Yeah, One Winged Angel.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like one of the coolest video game songs
Mm-hmm.
ever.
And Sephiroth is like 7 foot long sword. He's
Yeah.
left-handed.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You were
Yeah.
shitting
What's
your
wrong with
pants.
left-handed people, Tom?
Y'all are weird. Y'all shouldn't be that good at using swords.
The only people in our right minds.
How long you been waiting to use that one, Corey?
My dad taught me that when I was 6. So
Okay.
there's that.
So let's leave it back in the closet.
I'll put in a sound effect of a rim shot. But no, I remember that game just being like, I'd come home and I would play it. I'd do my homework, but I would play that game.
Yeah.
And I would play
You
it.
did your homework so you could play that game.
Yeah,
That's what you mean to
exactly.
say.
There it is.
and that would be a game that I would probably get in trouble for. I mean, my parents didn't care, but I could stay up late and I would be playing that game.
Mhm.
And it just, I loved
Like,
7.
you've played all of them? Like
I've-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
yeah.
7.
Wow.
I mean, they had
Even
like
like
a release.
tactics and stuff like that.
The
I hated
first one-
tactics.
Okay.
I
That
never
was the
played
one thing
Tactics.
that tactics I just could not get into.
Yeah.
The first one I ever played, Final Fantasy. I'm terrible at Final Fantasy. I love them because I love turn-based
Yeah.
RPGs. Like,
Mm.
I do. I mean, I,
get-
guess
I get
like
bored of them.
in the
sometimes.
select few solo games I played, like Pokemon,
Yeah.
every Pokemon game I've played, some about it. But I remember there being Dark Knight. You're a dark. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
4. Is it 4? You start out like on
Well,
a ship.
a lot
or
of the
3?
ones before 7,
Yeah.
you had like classes.
Yeah.
And you'd go up in class. Okay, you're a knight. Okay, now you're an arc knight or something like crazy
Got it.
things like that.
paladin knight.
It kind of reminds me of Dragon Quest. I don't know if anyone played Dragon
Oh,
Quest.
I remember that.
Reminds,
yeah.
That reminds me actually of Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
play 10-2.
Huh?
10-2.
Wait, dude. Okay, yeah. So that's the one that I actually first started playing.
10-2?
10-2, because you had
Dress
Yuna,
Spheres.
Riku, and Pain, right?
Yeah.
The 3
There was
girls.
Dark
Yeah.
Knight Dress Spheres where you could like
Yeah.
switch into a Dark Knight.
Oh, I see.
And so
Call back to 4.
Yeah.
He just went, oh.
I get it.
No,
The facial expressions. I
didn't
wish
mean to make
it
a
was,
facial
it was an
expression.
enjoyable game. I'll
no,
admit it.
10-2, my God. Like I remember
I like 10 though a lot.
10
so.
was good because it introduced Titus and all that
Yeah.
huge love story. But then it was kind of cool just to have, like, oh, cool, it's 3 girls that you're just like playing with. And obviously, like at that time, I was like, what, in 8th grade. So it's like, I follow around girls.
Actually,
Who are-
10. 10 for me.
Cried.
No, I was really upset with that game, and I'll tell you why. It was a
Plot
fun game.
thickens.
It was a great game. It was fun. And then you did the final boss and you were done in 5 minutes and you were like,
That's it.
I remember
man.
as a kid going, what?
That's it.
No, that
That's
can't,
not the
no.
final boss.
I remember, if I can
There's always a
piggyback
side
off
boss.
that, one
Is
of
that
my
last like enemy. I think it's called Nemesis or something. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it, but
I
it's a
think so.
giant monster.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
And
I know
like
what you're talking
my
about.
Orin could do like 200,000 damage or
So
something.
you just destroyed that thing.
I just destroyed it and I was like, cool,
All right.
one turn.
There's
I'm
a
done.
game. There's a game called Army of Two.
Yeah.
Probably one of the,
Oh, dude, I love that game.
I did too. Here's the
I
thing.
love that game.
Here's the thing. Probably one of
Did.
the better co-op games again. Co-op game because
You
you're
can
two
pimp
people.
out all your guns.
Yeah,
make
you
them
can pimp out your
gold.
mask, everything.
Yeah.
The final boss is a cutscene. You
Oh.
don't get to fight it at
What
all.
Oh, that's
the
terrible.
actual
So you fight up this like stairwell to get to the top because the boss has a rocket launcher and he's gonna escape on a helicopter. And you're like, this is gonna be a great rooftop fight. I'm gonna fight a boss.
I might fall off.
It's gonna
I
be
might-
great. And you get to the door, and then the cutscene happens. You kick it down. He shoots some rockets. They shoot down the helicopter, and then the credits roll. And I remember sitting there with Dustin on Xbox, being like, "What the fuck just happened?" And he was like, "I think the game's over." I was like, "No," because it fades to black, and then just
No,
credits.
There
And
will
you're
be
like,
something else. No,
What?
there's gonna be something else.
"That's
No,
the
no.
end. That's
Wait.
it. You just go back to the main menu.
And
you
then-
spend like
Begin Plus.
And then
25 hours.
New Game Plus.
There's no new game plus. It's just that's it, done." And I was like, "Oh my god."
Hold on, going back. So big Final Fantasy.
Yeah, please.
nerd.
Sorry, I just had to piggyback off that.
Did you play any Kingdom Hearts?
I did.
Dude,
I loved
do you
Kingdom
like
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah,
I love how
loved
it's
Kingdom
just-
Hearts, the first one when it came out. I didn't really play the ones afterwards, and I know
What?
I know. Don't hate me. But I loved. No, I take that back. Now that I think about it, no, I played 2.
3-hour tutorial.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
playing as Roxas and you're like getting so invested in him and your heart explodes when he realizes, spoilers, he's not real. And I was just like,
Tom, I haven't played it yet.
I was like,
I'm just
oh,
kidding.
I was like,
I'm not gonna
oh,
play it.
I'm
Jesse
playing 3
McCartney.
though when that comes out.
Huh?
Whenever that comes out.
Oh
3.
my God.
Oh yeah.
But,
That's one of those ones that it's been coming out forever, and you're like,
And-
okay.
it's so dope. You can just use Disney characters to fight Sephiroth, and all of a sudden you have Cloud on your team, and you get the
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that every time someone says that name.
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
I feel like Kingdom Hearts games they frustrate me a little bit because I feel like they're like software releases.
Okay.
So I feel like there's like
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2.93
Oh,
memories
they're
released.
so ridiculous
Yeah.
with that. Like,
It's
I
ridiculous.
like
They did that with
just
Final
put out
Fantasy
3.
2.
God damn it!
well, what was it?
10-2.
It was
2.5.
It was 1,
10-2.
and then Chain of Memories on GBA, and then all of a sudden 2, and then all of a sudden like
What's like the newest
4,000
one?
games on mobile.
It's like 2.5, I think.
It's like something.
No, it's
yeah.
2.5. Now they're doing 2.8, and then they did remix,
What?
and then they did like master, and now they're doing 3 like way later. And I was like, come on,
it's
just
kind of like
give
when
me
you're
3.
like in the entertainment business and you make like a final video and you send
Oh,
it
yeah.
to the client
Oh,
and
no.
you're like you mark it final and they're like, hey, can you change that? And then you're like
Final version.
final, and then you're like,
That's what it is.
okay,
We're
final,
going back to
I swear to God,
final,
this
final,
is the
final.
last one. And then final, oh sweet Jesus,
God,
please be the
kill
last
me.
one.
That's literally what happened with my senior project when I was in school. The editor hated me.
I do want to ask a quick question real
No.
quick. Now that we've all stated our favorite games, if I may get the
Okay.
ball rolling on this.
No.
We talked about, I thought this might be interesting, and I'm really eager to hear what you guys say. What game, in your opinion, deserves an HD remake?
I got it.
Oh, I already know.
You already know? We're going
Yeah,
to start
you-
from the other way. You went last first.
Yeah.
So
Then you, how
last
do you
first, last
How
first.
do you
I'll
start?
start.
You start.
Me? Okay.
Yeah,
You're an all-star.
Mine, and this is, I'm still hoping it's going to happen.
It's not.
And there's this like nonprofit company that's like trying to make it happen on the side, but it's going to take them like 10 years.
And the devs are great.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys ever played that Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not
On
the
the
online
original-
game, is it?
No.
This is like the console game,
again,
the
this
PC
is like
game.
a
This is the.
I
OG
played it
one.
on Xbox originally.
Okay.
It's an RPG
Mhm.
in the world of Star Wars, the
Yeah,
Knights
I
of
remember that.
the Old Republic.
Before all the movies.
Before everything.
Mhm.
Like thousands of years before.
When like Jedi didn't even have like Knights of the Old Republic.
No, they did. I mean, there was no Jedi Order technically, though. But or there was, but it was on a different planet, and that planet gets blown up. Anyway, it's fantastic. It's probably one of the like most in-depth Star Wars lore stories. I mean, you played it, you
Yeah,
said, right?
I'd love it.
You have
Both of them.
Revan and Malik, which I'm hoping they make a movie of someday. Would be phenomenal. If you haven't played it, for those of you who are listening, it's on Steam. It is worth I think it's like $5 to $10 for 1 and 2.
Oh, wow.
It is so worth the price of that.
Yeah, they're
because,
porting games for these newer systems and it's awesome.
Oh my God. It's probably one of my like top 10 highly recommended games of all time. I just loved the fact that you can choose. It's made by Bethesda and Obsidian. So you get to like, it's all RPG elements where you get to make choices and the choices affect the
Oh,
world.
no, sorry, it's BioWare.
BioWare. That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. That's what it is. BioWare. And so you get to choose if you want to be a light side or dark side. You get to choose if you want to be, who your followers are. You have a team of like 10 people you can choose to take with you on missions, go to
Reminded me
different
of that game,
planets.
Force Awakens.
A little bit, except
Yeah.
like
But
take
it
that and then
like, yeah.
crack it open and expand it to do whatever you want, and you
Yeah.
can go anywhere and do anything. It's phenomenal. I drained lifetimes into that game, and I've replayed it. It's probably the game I've replayed the most in my life.
Okay.
Is Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I don't know if you had any favorite moments from that game, but
Let's switch it up. I'm gonna go next.
Go ahead.
And I've already talked about it. But the thing is that it's probably already gonna happen, though the news has kind of drained a little bit. Sounds like they're gonna make a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
finally,
I mean, they announced it 2 years ago.
And they've released opening credits.
They've
cinematics.
released different things.
Ollie's
and-
reaction over here didn't sound too sure of that, man.
Well, you haven't heard any.
They're going to
I
be
was
like
looking up.
episodes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
heard
so
that.
it's like, no, deserves a
Yeah.
good HD remake. I think
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII
I
agree with
support
would
that
be
100%.
amazing.
I agree with that.
What they're doing, what it sounds like they're doing, I'm a little pissed about.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, if you're going to do it,
Just
fucking
do
Go all the way.
it.
Commit all the way.
Do it.
there is
People would
do
eat that
it.
shit. Just do it, Shia
Shia
LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Just do it.
Don't let your
please.
dreams be dreams, Square.
Because I mean, everything would be so amazing.
Yeah.
All the cutscenes, redo them. I mean, you did it to fucking Crash Bandicoot. Come on.
That's true.
It's just, I mean, that's unfortunately where the game industry is at right now. It's just, let's release part of a game.
Final
and-
Fantasy 7.256.
Yeah. And then when the next part comes out, you can buy that.
Yeah.
And then we'll release the last part, and
It's those
You can
episodic
buy
games
that, too.
like Life is Strange.
Well, I
Cool,
mean,
but
like, I don't know if Mr. Ali can shed some light just because he's like, I think the resident like game authority. But I don't know what the workload is or if it's like easier because I mean, like you got the Telltale games, right? Who do different seasons. You got like
Yeah.
a bunch of different other games like Carly McCoy was saying, like they do these different parts of the game and they're all different like episodic that we're getting to versus like you got Uncharted versus like you got Batman Arkham, which is like giant games, huge world games. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if you would know, but is the workload probably easier to like just be able to make these like smaller versions, do everything they can, see how well it does, and then like make another episode or make another thing.
and make more
It's
money.
that is true. I think to an extent. I don't think that's what this is about. I don't think that's what's happening with Final Fantasy VII. My honest opinion is I think they just want to milk it.
Yep.
And
They know how big it is. 'cause
they
it's
know how big it is.
everyone's favorite.
And they're going to expand the story more than you remember from Final Fantasy VII. So they're going to
More
take
background
like
for each character or something like that.
they'll take like every
Interesting.
10 hours and make it 40 hours. basically.
Okay.
Like that's my thoughts behind it.
Spend
And they've
4,000
said that it's a $2,000 of a story, like for modern, if they wanted to, do it justice modernly or whatever.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
that's why you had multiple discs.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was such a big game. And
But
it
I just
was-
love that they're like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII's story is way too epic for one game. Meanwhile, the next week they release Final Fantasy 15, which is one game.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
And it's pretty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But
Thanks,
I agree
guys.
with that. I think 7 should have an
so
HD
Final Fantasy
remake.
15 is not epic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Um,
And we all throw middle fingers up in the air.
Man, so me and Ollie always do this like sexy eye thing where we look at each other like who's going.
Who's going next?
So
I
for
enjoy
my-
watching it happen if that helps.
so for mine, best HD remake game I would do. It's really weird, but it's another game that like I spent a lot of time with during the GameCube era. And this is a game that
Super Monkey Ball.
and this is a game,
Sonic.
and this is a game that I would actually spend like this is back when like Walkmans were a thing, and I would like slide out my CD, pop in another CD, and just listen to that for hours and play this game. And it's the only one of its series, and I say this in a very specific way. So Spider-Man 2,
There it is.
the movie game.
Yes.
Now,
Yep.
usually what they say, video games into movies aren't good, and then movies into video games aren't good either. This was like the first of its kind of like this is a really freaking good video game movie or movie video game.
Well, doesn't the world, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but does not the internet and the world itself compare any other Spider-Man game web swinging physics to that one?
Yeah.
Because they nailed it so
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, they keep everything gets referenced back to that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I remember seeing gameplay footage of the Amazing Spider-Man. I like how every time I talk, it just always goes back to Spider-Man and why
It
I like
always
the
does.
Tobey
And we're
Maguire
not
ones,
there.
right?
We're not
I know,
doing
we're
that
not even there
episode
yet.
right now.
Spider-Man.
And it was the Amazing Spider-Man video game for like Xbox 360 or like whatever Xbox
Yeah.
One, and the graphics were amazing. You could wear
Oh, it's
different,
360. Yeah, the different
you could wear
suits.
different suits. I was like, this looks dope. And I've seen like Shattered Realms where like you could play with different Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man Noir, the Spider-Man 2099.
I
But the-
did love that game though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but why are these like not getting as well reviewed, and why is not the gameplay? And I'm watching, and I'm like, yeah, there's just kind of this blandness to it, and like again, like the Spider-Man 2 movie game plays off the movie storyline, but like all these like small little side missions where you're like delivering pizzas, you have to like date Mary Jane, or else she's gonna like break up with you, or you have to do
It's
all
a
these
good
other
game,
stupid
man.
things. But like, and you fight Mysterio, you fight the Shocker. But for me, like my favorite part was literally just like getting to the tallest building, climbing up there,
Yeah.
jumping off,
Jumping.
and then just going as far low as you can get, and then all of a sudden swinging and flying somewhere. Like
It was the best feeling in the world.
yeah. Or like
You're like, I'm
Or
Spider-Man.
swinging so fast somewhere else, like because that's like half the missions is like
hockey pads.
Okay, it's like getting to somewhere at a certain time, like so it's like, oh, you got to meet MJ. It's like, don't let her down for this date, and then you have to like literally find the fastest way to get there. And then sometimes you do the whole like you shoot one web one way, you shoot another web somewhere else, and then you like catapult yourself somewhere
Slingshot
else.
yourself.
Like, this is amazing. This is dope. And I was like, trying to recreate that feeling with like Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get that same feeling. I got that a lot with Arkham City, but I was like, imagine if you did this like a Superman game. Imagine it's like,
Mhm.
and that was the thing. I was like, man, fuck it, just make this an HD game. It's like make this
Yep.
like great, make this like the same thing, but with like
Was
better
that the one that
graphics.
once you beat the game, you could beat Green Goblin? No, that's the first one.
That was
My
the
bad.
first one.
That was a
Once
good
you
one
beat-
too. The
once-
first one was great too, though. I have
Once
to
you beat the
admit.
game, it's New Game Plus.
Yeah.
New Game Plus, and then get 99%.
2 was the one if you had pre-ordered, it was like still in the early days pre-ordered, you could be Stan Lee swinging around. number two,
Oh,
yeah.
really? That's
Yeah,
funny.
you could be Stan Lee just swinging around the world. It was in a suit. It was the strangest thing.
I gotta look that up on YouTube later.
Yeah, you should. It's fantastic to watch. And he did the voice acting for it too. So it's fantastic. Excelsior. Ali, what you got? HD remake.
AC remake.
Destiny 1.
Speaking of Superman,
Destiny.
They did that. They called it Destiny 2.
They called it Destiny 2.
Man, that's good. Okay.
this whole game back from my childhood. No. Speaking of Superman, Superman 64, one of my favorite. No, I'm kidding.
I was
Oh my
like,
God.
I was gonna be real nice about it because I like you, but no.
No, I think I wanted to break away from Square, but I mean that was just such a big part of my childhood.
That's
I would
fine,
like
yeah.
to see Chrono Cross redone.
Oh.
Never played Chrono Cross.
Never played Chrono Cross.
No.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it a lot. Just the feel and the music, and
What type of game is it?
it's an RPG. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
I'd like it.
it's a turn-based RPG.
But
But there's like how
What
many
about the
characters?
clothes? Can you change the clothes?
Well, you can't change the clothes, but there's like 30 characters or something. 30
Holy
players you could pick
moly.
between. Yeah. So you could like cycle out and pick your party of 3, but you had a ton of characters to pick from. There's a lot of really cool, like
it was
the
a
art
sequel
style.
to Chrono Trigger.
It was like a.
Oh, I
yeah.
loved Chrono Trigger. Oh, so it's a sequel. Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
Got
like
it.
a kind of. It's not a sequel. It's like
it's
the
kind of like
same
Final
Spiritual
Fantasy, where it's
successor, you would
spiritual
call it?
successor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
But I just
phrase,
really like
whatever that means.
yeah, exactly. I like the characters in the setting. It was like more of an island theme, like tribal kind of theme to it. So I
I'll
just
have to
really
check
like
it
the
out.
aesthetic of
Probably
that.
a Wii play somewhere I could watch.
I think it'd be cool to see
it was a PlayStation game.
an HD remake.
It was-
But yeah, PS1 game.
Mm.
It was, yeah. I remember getting that. Like Legends of Dragoon. Did you ever play that?
That was going to be my other answer is Legend of Dragoon. I would love to see that HD
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear of a game called Champions of Norath?
Oh, I have.
It was an
I-
EverQuest game, and
Oh.
it was like
I missed
it was
the
an
whole EverQuest
RPG.
boat.
It was an RPG game, but I for some reason that came to my mind too when I was thinking about my favorite games, and I was like, yeah, I played that a lot too.
There's so many games. I have a whole list of
so many
HD
games.
remakes I could write down.
I was thinking of
Send
Legend
out.
of
I might.
Dragoon.
Maybe we'll post them. Maybe we'll post
Yeah.
all the other
Yeah, we'll
ones.
post it online. I was thinking of Legend of Dragoon mainly because when we were talking about switching discs and stuff,
Mm.
you did that for Legend of Dragoon. I don't
You
know
had
if there
like
was 2
4
or 3 discs, 4 discs.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they
4
couldn't
discs.
figure it out. But for Final Fantasy, it didn't matter if you wanted to go back to an old city, you could. But for Legend of Dragoon, if you wanted to go back to an old city, you had to put the old disc back in.
Oh, hell
they're like-
no.
Oh,
You would
Man,
hover over it,
hell no.
interact with it, and then it's like, okay, great. You want to go back to this city? Cool. Put disc 1 back in.
That's
That's
terrible.
rough.
It's
Memory
like
cards?
I don't know what
Oh, man.
oh no.
I don't know what
No,
Square
no.
did to figure it out, where you had the entire game on every disc and you didn't have to do that. But
Wow.
that was definitely a
It
huge
probably that's
frustration.
interesting. I
But it
wonder
was a
if-
good game. It
it
made
was
up for it
just
by being a
like-
good game.
I wonder if Square just put like cutscenes and storyline on each disc.
That's my guess. Yeah,
and
Yeah.
then once you locked past that,
events and things that
Well, other technology moved
Yeah.
forward,
that's true.
which
Right.
allowed them to move forward. So another question that I thought I'd ask, and you actually started talking about it a little bit, but us talking about these old games that we loved, frustration.
Ooh,
Like the game that frustrated you the most. And I don't mind going first on this because it's the thing about Final Fantasy VII is that I loved it and I hated it
yeah,
because you had to work. Like, I believe those RPG games were the birth of grinding because
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, you had to grind.
yeah,
And because I was a
absolutely.
completionist, you had to work hours at it. And you would
Months.
try these months.
years
just
of your
hours,
life wasted.
months. I think back then, putting over 100 hours on a video game, you're like, what? Now you're like, oh yeah, that's
Except
fine.
like every Pokemon video game I ever played was 120 plus. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But that game used to frustrate me because the bosses, they were hard.
yeah.
You would have to play them multiple times. Like the secret bosses that were around the world in Final Fantasy VII, those fuckers were hard.
I have a strong belief that games have gotten easier. Like
Yeah.
a very
oh yeah, for
very
sure,
strong belief that
100%.
games have gotten just way easier.
Yeah.
So I've tried to go back and play some. I'm like, how did I beat this when I was 8? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean mine would be it's a love-hate relationship with Final Fantasy VII because you really had to work so hard.
But you felt so good, right?
But yeah, when you went through and you completed, you level up all your materia, you got all of your bosses taken care of, you got all the ultimate weapons, all the limit breaks, you've done all that, and then you beat Sephiroth, you're like,
You're like, Mom,
cool. Hey,
we're going out tonight.
I'm getting
We're
you a
getting
juice
pizza.
box.
Oh man.
I was gonna say I might get some flack for this, but my
Destiny 1.
I'm
done, I'm
sorry. No, it's Destiny 2. No, it's actually Skyrim or like really any Elder Scrolls game.
Mm.
Okay.
Interesting.
See, I'm a huge fan of now we got the companies mixed up in my head.
Bethesda.
Bethesda, thank you. I'm a huge fan of Bethesda, clearly as I remember their name.
Yeah.
But the thing that always frustrated me with Skyrim, maybe it was just the character I picked because I picked one with a heavy sword or whatever. I just didn't like that you couldn't lock onto enemies or have like some kind of
Targeting
like aim
system.
assist or something. And I would just swing the sword and it would take all my stamina and I'd be like 5 miles away from the enemy or my horse would die from being hit by a stray arrow
Well,
and I had to
that
load
was
back
an
in.
issue on itself. The horse would just jump off a cliff. and you'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, there goes my horse. That's done.
It,
Cool,
it just
now I gotta
felt like
walk back.
like it just felt kind of sloppy, like everything, the way the world worked and lived.
Now, I think
Like you
there
would
is
bump
like,
into someone.
I think
and,
there is like this running joke, because I spent a lot of time on Reddit.
Yeah,
There's this running joke that game is like people's favorites, but man, is it buggy.
yeah.
It is insane how many bugs that thing has. There are so many videos of people walking and all of a sudden they'll just be shot up into the sky.
right.
And you'd be like, okay, well, I guess that I'm dead now. That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Or I
right
would
now.
like bump into someone and I'd be grabbing someone, but like a guard walked in front of me at the last second and I pickpocketed them by accident.
And then
Yeah.
the town hates you.
And then
you're
town hates
dead.
me. And of course I'm not that person to be like, oh, I made my choices. No, I'm loading the game back in. Like
Yeah.
my horse is going to be alive. Like,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh
No, man, what a spectrum. Like, that's such an other end of the spectrum than Destiny. So I can
'Cause-
see how that's not your
Because I
jam.
feel like I'm a firm believer that, and if for this conversation, you have to kind of be a little bit invested into the game to hate it, or to not
Yeah.
to hate it, but to
be frustrated
by
it's
it.
not one that you just were like, all right, fuck it. I'm
Yeah,
done.
if you rented something from like Blockbuster back in the day,
Hollywood Video.
Hollywood
Great
Video.
game
Sorry.
crazy.
You rented it from Josh.
Wow.
Not
How
sponsored
could you
by
in front of
Hollywood
him?
Video.
How dare you say
He said as he had 2 Blockbuster cards still in his desk.
Yeah, right. But if you hated it or didn't like the game, you just return it. You wouldn't think twice about it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
a
Never
game
play
like
it again.
a game that you want to love, that like Skyrim would, like the first time you go into the mines and you see like the glory of the inside of the mines and all that stuff when it opens up, that whole like underworld area. I was blown away by that. And then so it's frustrating when things like that happen and take your enjoyment away, take it out of that experience.
I agree.
I never finished it because of that. I got probably like 100 and something hours in. But
The first time I rented Skyrim the first time, which was a big mistake. I remember my mom took me to Blockbuster and we rented Skyrim. And the guy, as we're checking out, he's like, "It's pretty sweet, man. It's 300 hours plus." And I was like, "I will choose a different game. That's fine." I was like, "I don't have enough time to rent a game that has 300 plus hours.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm looking for right now." But I agree with you. That's not one I completed either. I think because I drained like 100 something hours, and then I realized I was like, I'm only halfway. I can't do this. I can't do it anymore.
My turn. The most frustrating. So see the thing about like the most frustrating game versus the game you hated. Like I don't think I hated a lot of games. I might have been disappointed with the endings or something like that. Like Army of Two. Or whatever.
Yeah, hate's a strong word.
Yeah.
We're talking frustration right now.
And it's so funny because like I remember a specific story. I remember I was in San Jose. I moved into this new house with my parents, and like I was playing GameCube, and I had this like, and this is back when like atomic controllers were such a thing. Atomic being like the see-through ones. You could see the gears and metals and like the vibrating motors working. And I literally remember I was so frustrated. This is really sad. I'm gonna give the punchline. I don't remember this game, but I got so mad I broke this controller in half with my bare hands as like a 12-year-old kid. And I was so angry. I was like, I don't even remember the game because I blacked out, and I was just like, and I remember like, this is what I remember. The controller was broken, and like a plastic, those container.
You may
boxes
have defined the word rage quit.
Was a plastic box, those container boxes where you pack shit, broken. Destroyed, like
what?
Not like a hole in it, but like the actual box with the screws and everything's destroyed. Like, and I don't even remember.
So wait, were you just like super swole, or did you just buy cheap stuff?
I think maybe I like channeled Bruce Lee. And I was
wait,
like,
so like you don't?
I don't even remember this game.
But you remember the moment. I remember coming to be like, what have I done?
Because I remember like I had 3 controllers. I had this silver Wavebird. I had this purple GameCube controller. I had the silver, and then I had this see-through one. And I just know I don't have the see-through one anymore. It was broken, destroyed.
It's buried in the backyard.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It's like I have a funeral for it. But
Tom, what did your parents think of this?
Oh, they don't know. I was like, I'm just cleaning my room. But to answer the actual question, the most frustrating experience I think I had with the game that I can remember what the game was. I think I was 8 or 6 or whatever the time it came out. N64. It's always N64.
Yep.
And
it's because that controller, man.
I remember I had a loose tooth. This is like when I was super young. I had a loose tooth. That was my front tooth. And I was playing Mario 64. And I was just trying to I was just trying to win. I was just trying to get unlock 150cc or the mirror, whatever the hell it is.
The stars.
And I was on, was it the Rainbow Cup or whatever the last?
Oh, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
You said Mario 64.
Mario Kart. I was playing Mario Kart. And I remember I was using Yoshi. And I was on the Donkey Kong Jungle Parkway crap. And I was just going up this boosting ramp. And then as I go up, and I'm like in first place, I'm doing good. I'm like, I'm not that great at N64 games apparently. And then Wario just hits me off. And I'm veering off to the side. I'm like, my God, I'm never getting back out there. And then
just went
this loose tooth is just there. And I literally just punch it with my tongue, and this tooth flies out.
At the TV?
Out, not at the TV, but I mean, it flies out. And I was in my bunk bed, and it just flies oh my God.
Oh man,
that started that was the first of the rage quits I've ever had. I was like, oh my God!
Not only did I get hit, but I lost my tooth.
I lost it too.
There goes that quarter.
I know. I was like, my God. But yeah, that was the most frustrating experience. But I love that game.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, a lot of games that you love. I remember being so mad. Like we were talking about, Mario RPG. These games that even Destiny has it, where you're like, no, I made that jump. No. I made that. There's no
bullshit.
The mechanics.
Oh, it's not me. It's not me. I didn't do it wrong. It's the game. It didn't know that I pressed the right trigger.
Yeah, playing old Nintendo games, just Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I'm gonna segue into mine here to see if you've played this. Speaking of Super Nintendo games, the Lion King video game.
Yes, that game used to frustrate the shit out of me.
That is the epitome.
The monkey level.
Oh my God, yeah. Where you're jumping on the giraffes' heads and they're looking up and you get tossed.
And you have to time it.
It is. I had no
Aladdin, too.
idea. I had no idea into this year, and I saw this big old post on Reddit that is apparently the bane of everyone's existence. It is known as like the hardest game to play, and I have vivid memories of like me as a 6-year-old being like, "Why can't I do this? I'm not old enough." But apparently, no one could.
No one
so it was
could.
fine. I also used to do this thing, and Brittany, I'm sorry if you're listening. We had
Shout out
like
to Brittany.
Aladdin, the Aladdin video game, and Abu would
Yeah.
follow you around.
Yeah.
I used to not plug in a controller and tell her she was playing and give her positive reinforcement. Be like, "You're doing great."
I did that
You're
to
doing
my
awesome.
little brother.
Yeah,
That's what you do.
I'm gonna give you a high five right now because it's you don't want to exclude them,
I
but
used
you
to do
also
that with
don't want
Twisted
them
Metal.
to fuck up your
Yeah.
game.
My little brother, Twisted
Oh my
Metal.
god, yeah,
Make him think that he's playing and be
because your
"Oh,
parents
yeah."
would get mad if you didn't let him
Oh.
play.
But he had the ultimate revenge.
Okay,
I have to. Okay, so this is you're gonna appreciate this. Okay, so we were playing Twisted Metal, my friend and I. You could play 2-player, but those games you didn't save.
No.
You couldn't save.
Mm.
So if you were gonna play,
You're in.
you're in it.
Yeah.
And we're on the last boss, and my little brother comes in and he hits the reset button.
Oh no,
dude, he knew. He figured it out. And
Shout
he was
out to
like,
Cody.
Shout out.
He
to
knows.
"Oh my
Um,
god,
yeah.
brilliant!"
My best friend growing up was named Josh as well, and we
Wow.
both were just like
Did you lose your shit?
we lost our shit.
Oh my god, I can't
I
even
mean,
imagine.
It was like
Cannot even
Dude,
imagine.
That happened to me when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and I was fighting Ursula. And I was like, you know, and the thing is kind of like, you want to be cool. It's like, I don't need to save. I'm cool. I could get
Oh man,
Farker.
kids today will never understand the fact that if you didn't save a game and it froze, you were fucked.
No, you
Like,
didn't understand.
Yeah,
they,
game
they,
was froze. That was
they
it.
never understood not having autosave.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
they never understood going to a place and saving. Like now it's like, oh, save after this cutscene, save after this mission. It's like, it's so easy. But now it's like, I remember I was like, oh, cool. I'll just play like 5 hours and then I'll save at the very end. 4 hours in, I'm like, cool. I'm like at this good point where it's like, it's now from like the first third now to the second third of the game. And all of a sudden, like I'm beating up Ursula. And then my sister walks by and like, it like if you think about it and the way I'm saying it, she trips
Yeah.
and then puts her hand right on the reset button. I was like, I just see the disc come out. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm done. I'm not
That is
playing this
like-
game for 2 weeks.
actually, I think I transferred in time with you and saw that.
Oh my
moment.
God.
Like,
I just think it's
That's
one of those
insane.
things like, VHSs and stuff that we're going to explain to kids someday. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're like, you used to have to save your game and
back in my day,
manually. There were spots you had to go in the
there
game.
wasn't a symbol on the
Yeah.
screen that said when this is up, your game's
What are you
saving.
talking about? They were called save points.
There was these crystals you had to find.
And if your memory card ran out of space,
That's it.
you're
You don't get
that's
to
done.
play.
Go get a new one.
Oh, man.
You
And
had
then they came
limited
out with big
space.
ones.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to throw back real quick. Speaking of memory cards, to another HD remake, Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I don't know if you ever played that. You knew I was going to say it.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be remade now. So if anyone's listening who's is in that industry, remake
shout out
it.
to you.
So
Anyway.
And the
breaking
wrath
fourth
of the
wall.
communities that you will feel when you release a Gauntlet game again.
No,
they do-
Gauntlet
they do
Dark
have
Legacy though was
No,
great.
They do have gauntlets. On
No, they
PlayStation.
don't.
Do they?
Wow.
It doesn't count.
It's
Has to be Dark
it's literally
Legacy.
called Gauntlet Slayer or
what
something
made
like that?
Dark? Do I dare ask what made Dark Legacy?
It's the perfect couch co-op game. It's 4-player arcade style. It's the one where it was Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And then Gauntlet Legacy and then Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Mhm.
And Gauntlet Dark Legacy added 4 new characters and 4 new special characters. They had like the Jester that they added, the Dwarf, the Amazon, I think. But it's just like, oh man, I could play that game for days. For days and days and days. I'm going to bring it over one day. We'll do an episode where
We
we're all
should.
playing it.
Okay. All
It's on
right.
GameCube. Oh, by the way, the exclusive for
Shut
buying
up,
it on
Corey.
GameCube. Listen to this.
Stanley.
This is ridiculous. This is
Did you
ridiculous.
just like, oh man.
I'm so sorry. But the exclusive back in the day for buying it was better graphics. That
Yeah,
was a
what?
like, oh, buy it on GameCube, you get better graphics. Like that was their console exclusive.
Oh,
That's
okay.
ridiculous. That would never fly. Sorry, I'm done now.
No, that would never.
So
No,
on
we're just
that,
keep going.
everybody at home, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to our
Putting up with
ranting and
us.
raving and putting up with us.
Yeah.
Um,
We love
yeah,
you.
it's the second episode. So thank you for sticking with us. I mean, man, to-
Oh my God.
you can follow the show on all sorts of places. You can go to our website, nerdonthepodcast.com. You can go to Instagram, Nerd on the Podcast. You can go to Twitter, Nerd on the Pod. A little bit different.
a little.
You can search YouTube. Our episodes will be videos. You're going to have to search it. We're not big boys yet. Someday you will be able to find us just by the URL.
Someday.
Someday.
Like our shit on
Facebook.
When we
Facebook.
grow
Yeah,
up.
links on the website.
If you are listening, please take a moment to review, rate, share the show. Yeah, we'd love
we'll
to hear
love
from
you
you
forever
guys.
for it.
Yeah,
Please.
with the cherry on top and everything.
Kiss
You
me.
can find me. You can find me on Twitter at just Joshinya. You can find me on Facebook, Joshua S. Manley. You can find me on Instagram, Joshua S. Manley. You can find me on IMDb, Joshua Sterling. You can find me. I'm there.
You can find me.
Find me. Come and find me.
You can find me.
Yeah. So my name is Tom Pet Borsuth, or as Thomas Pet Borsuth on IMDb. But on all social medias, it's Tall Dark Not Ugly on everything.
Everything. Mine is at Corey89, real creative. But all my other stuff is at We Are Storyboard, BORED. WeAreStoryboard.com. You can find us on everything. It's a steal from Tom.
Are we gonna thang everything?
Ali Shakati. You can find me on Twitter at FutureFoe. Find me on YouTube at Future, not at, but /FutureFoe Plays. I have a vanity URL. Thank you very much.
He's a big boy.
Eat your heart out.
Someday.
We got a
Someday.
verified check.
Those are really the only ones I update, so just go to those.
Just go to those ones.
Just go there.
Got it.
He doesn't even like our own posts.
I don't even like it. Yeah, I'm like, oh, wait.
Don't go to his Pinterest.
No, it's I'm really bad with Facebook and Instagram.
What about LinkedIn?
I'll get better. LinkedIn.
How about your
Sure, I'm
MySpace?
on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn.
Friendster?
Oh
Friends.
man.
I'm not FutureFoe on LinkedIn though.
And Plastic Man on AIM. So yeah, don't ever forget.
Yes. Plastic Man, 1985.
There it is. If you want to catch him on AIM someday.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. You can find me on PSN.
God.
I don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mind. Sterling
PSN, let's
J85.
Oh, that's a
Future.
great one. Let's go around and do that. Okay. That's good. I like that.
PSN Sterling J85. I don't mind. I'll play.
I don't like mine. Mine's like Tall Dark Not Ugly, but it's like someone took it and it has like I have to put a 0 somewhere and an underscore somewhere. I don't even remember how it looks like.
I tried to find you, and I was like, it's not everything on everything.
But I'm your friend Ollie. But
Yeah, Future_Foe. Someone, FutureFoe was taken.
I'm the odd man out on Xbox, but it's Corthaniel. Yeah. IAL at the end. Corthan Neil.
I'm convinced one day I'll have a reason to buy an Xbox.
Yeah, I do too. I have hope.
Maybe.
I have hope that you'll come over and
Yeah.
then you're like, I'm just gonna get Destiny 2 and help Corey
No,
out.
I have
When it
a
gets
hope
good.
that they're gonna do,
Oh, yeah.
cross-platform. That's
It's gonna happen. It's got
So,
Xbox
anyway,
reached out.
that's
I'm just
another
saying.
episode. Another
Microsoft
episode.
said
yeah.
we want to do it.
They're
Anyway,
like, hey,
more on that later.
Can you help us?
on that note, I think it's time.
You know, as always, nerd on.
Ending broadcast.